Are you
and 9, 8,
okay,
7,
so we're gonna probably add
Welcome to GatherGeeks, a podcast by BizBash, the place where people passionate about meetings and events come together. This episode is a GatherGeeks special sponsor edition. Here's your host, BizBash CEO David Adler.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to GatherGeeks Special Sponsor Edition. Every month, we feature one of our carefully curated sponsors so that we can tell you their stories and why their products and services are of interest to you. So today's special interview is with the CEO and co-founder of Surkus, Stephen George. His company, which is called a crowdcasting mobile platform, has been featured in media outlets, including everything from the New York Times to Mashable and everything else in between. They have a platform that actually incentivizes attendees to go to experiences. Sometimes they pay them, sometimes they offer them experiences that are to die for, and they want people to attend, either fill seats or tell other people about them. So is this the perfect innovation for consumer brands and event organizers to fill up their events? Is it the ultimate transactional business for this new era? But I guess it's no coincidence that CEO Stephen George comes from being part of Groupon, where that phenomenon really took our nation by storm and is bringing another innovation. So here's how Stephen explained it to a very cool, very hip YouTube show called Get It Girl. And then we'll have a conversation.
And congratulations on the app.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I hear it is people get paid to go to parties. Can you elaborate on that and explain?
Yeah, so we really built a technology platform that allows people to be incentivized to do things. So whether it's a party or background casting for entertainment or going to a baseball game, really anything where they're looking to bring a crowd.
Okay.
So we just built that platform that in a matter of minutes we can have people show up.
Mm-hmm.
So
what
clients are always
do?
trying to target their ideal customers or just crowds, and they've never had a platform that can directly get them to go somewhere and take an action. Yeah. In PR, you can talk to your customers, you can talk to people, but there's been never a platform to really transfer an incentive to actually get you to show up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we built that where we can just pay you. It's pretty simple.
So if Leah wants to do this, what would she have to do? In the app?
All you have to do
Here's
is...
the app.
Go out, have fun, get paid.
Yeah.
That's a good tagline.
Hello,
That's a good tagline.
Yeah, I love how millennial this is. It's like we're all so lazy that we need to get paid to go to parties. I would rather just binge watch on Netflix than go out.
It's just, the money's there, it's being wasted, so why not give it to the people that really matter?
Yes.
Stephen, what is Surkus? Tell us what it is and why you are getting headlines in the New York Times and why it's taking this country by storm.
So Surkus is really a technology, and what it does is it connects brands and venues with their ideal crowd of customers. So the reason I think that it's been becoming more popular is just the constant conversation about experiential interactions between brands, and really I've been reading a lot of articles about it lately where just brands are trying to figure out how do we engage with customers, and the most effective way that we feel is through experiences, through live connections. So a live event organizer, an experiential marketing firm that's putting together an event is going to engage multiple different vendors. One, to get the crowd there. One, to engage with the crowd once they're there. One, to really get feedback, from the crowd after or during the event. And I think our technology, our solution, accomplishes all of that. It really is a one-stop shop. Because we are curating the crowd, so we know exactly who's coming. We control, when they get there, how they engage at the event. And then we're able to, allow them to take other actions inside our platform in terms of giving feedback after the event.
So how does it work? How does it work? What is the first thing, if you were an event organizer and don't understand it, what is the first thing what problem is the event organizer solving to begin with you?
So once an event organizer understands their ideal kind of demographic, their ideal group of people that they're looking to target, using our solution to actually identify those people. And if someone says, okay, I need 1,000 people to come to my event, and I'm looking for men and women, 25 to 45, that are interested in, my brand or, other brands similar to it, we can really target those in our database and then activate them to come to your event. And really it's because we have people in our database, and then we have all this data on them, so we can really identify the ideal attendee for their event and get them to show up because they're engaged with our brand in terms of looking constantly for new experiences.
So is that why, I think, go back a little bit in terms of why they're so enamored with being part of the Surkus family on the other side of the platform, not the event organizer. And there's something that you've got going on that is stimulating a lot of fun and excitement. And how do they, why are they there is the question.
We're this entire lifestyle where it's not only, one night you get to go to a nightclub. It's the next night you get to go to this amazing brand activation you would have never heard of. The day after, you're able to go to a baseball game of your favorite team. The next day, it's that you can be cast in your favorite TV show. It's that we create this whole lifestyle that you can live your life through our platform, and you can get access to amazing experiences that you otherwise hear about maybe after the fact, if ever.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I mean, when I've been in journalism and for the last, many, many years, and I love my lifestyle. I get to go to everything and see everything and experience everything. And if everyone's a media company now, the other end is you're reaching out to them to tell them what stuff's happening and letting them participate. It sounds fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, so that's why we've really found that, anyone that's really joined our platform that engages with an event, they want to go to that second event. They want to go to that third event.
So
they're not dropping off because we're just giving them such unique access. Okay,
so here's a problem I had. I went to sign up. You don't even have my birth year allowed to sign up. Because you're really going after
me. Have you done that recently?
Today, just a few minutes ago.
And you can't. I'll have to look into why your year isn't there.
But I thought that was kind of brilliant that, you really are making sure that you don't get us older folks, in the game yet. But I would assume that I'm as interested as the millennials because I consider myself millennial minded. So maybe the next stage is going to be us.
Yeah. And honestly, we want this brand to allow anyone to, find experiences through our platform. Now, we started focusing on initially kind of the hype that we had. It was kind of 18 to 35-year-old women was the first group that signed up. And then it switched to 18 to 35-year-old men. And we're slowly expanding beyond that. But, yeah, obviously we want to make sure that everyone has something to do through our platform.
And so what's your geographical footprint at this point? And where will you go?
Yeah, so our main markets right now are Los Angeles, New York, Miami, Chicago, and San Francisco. And then as a subset of Los Angeles, we also are working with clients in Las Vegas and San Diego.
And so, and how do you get them? What do you do to outreach to get your people? How do they find you? Is it just word of mouth, or is it, are you outwardly promoting?
To date, most of our members, we have around 200,000 members right now, and most of them have signed up organically.
Uh-huh.
We've started now testing Facebook ads, Instagram ads, things like that for user acquisition. But really, it's been mostly word of mouth because we think that this platform is so social and not only meeting new people at events, but allowing you to engage at events with your friends, and because you know what your friends like in many cases. So, we've built an easy way for you to constantly invite your friends to events, invite your friends onto our platform. And so it's been, word of mouth and referral.
And how do you get the brands to sort of know about it and sign up are they reading about it in the press and things like that? And they're saying, okay, this sounds like a new solution.
Yeah. I mean, the press, the PR that we've done just over the last really 60 days has been beneficial in terms of the inbound interest. But we do have a team that we built this year in terms of doing outbound outreach to venues, to brands, to experiential marketing firms, PR agencies, all these potential clients that, we feel that we're solving a solution that they're struggling to solve, or they're always scrambling, whether they solve it or not. They're scrambling many times. And with our solution, they can use our platform the day of an event, and we can still deliver what would have taken them, days or weeks.
to get people, but it's not, people aren't paying to go to these events at this point. But they are, influencers in a sense, right? Or no.
Yeah. I mean, they're not necessarily influencers. They're people interested in the brand. They're people that fit the demographic or interest base that the brand is trying to target and engage with.
Right.
But they're getting access to these events. It's not that they're paying.
Right. But they are kind of influencers in sort of the classic sense, the way old-fashioned PR did it.
Yeah, they're really the type of people that you're targeting the right people, so then they're more interested in sharing it with their friends, posting on social media. Because I think a lot of experiential is done now for that social amplification, on their different channels, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Mm-hmm. So I think brands look to these experiences as just a way for them to allow other people to share. Instead of just having one influencer post, get 1,000 people that are interested in the brand and they'll post for you.
Right. So, one of the things when I did early surveys for BizBash, we found that the number one fear of event organizers is no one's going to show up at their event. No matter whether you're at the White House or whether you're just doing a picnic in the park. Everyone is that insecure. It seems like this sort of helps solve that problem. But how many people actually, when they say they're going to come, actually come? Is there sort of a magic number about a fall off on your system?
So we have an algorithm, or we have multiple algorithms that really decide exactly how many people need to be cast, which is what we call, confirmed for the event, taking into account drop-off and no-show rates of people. So it really depends on our members and their reliability in terms of attending events on our platform. And so every member on our platform has essentially a member rating. And you can see that in your app. You can see what your member rating is. And so we've realized that rating is valuable to our members. And so we can count on that to understand how many people are going to attend and how many people we would need to cast. So say if you need 100 people at your event, we might be casting 110 because based on our algorithms, we know that about 10 people of that group of 110 specifically are going to not show up.
So are you saying it's like a 10% fall off, which is pretty good if that's the case?
No,
but you're just saying that's just for an explanation. But what is
that's an example.
What do you think it is?
It really depends on the event, because what we do is we identify certain data points on the event side and essentially break down an event with data. And then we match that with our members and we get, how many people based on how many data points the brand or the event is trying to target in terms of people, we tell them what the drop-off rate will be. And so we're always, on our system, we can see that we cast 100% required to have the ideal number of attendees. And that varies really on an event level.
And what is the business model then? Are brands paying for by people, by event? How do you market?
The brands
how do you do it?
Are paying typically based on a budget they have,
right,
and how targeted they want to get with their group of attendees. So it's typically a per person budget, and that always breaks down from a higher budget. Someone comes to us, hey, we have a $10,000 budget, and we want 1,000 people. Well, it's easy to just break that number down, and we make sure we can deliver 1,000 people for $10,000.
Right. So, and you said that you can do it same day, like you're panicked, you're a brand. Excuse me. You're panicked. Nobody's showing up, or at least you don't know. Are you the place to reach out to and know that people will show? And are you getting that kind of business too?
Yeah. About 50% of our clients come in within 24 hours.
Oh, really? They're like panicked, or they're just...
It's not that they're panicked. It's that...
They're trying to maximize.
They're just trying to make sure, if it's a really great event, an agency will come to us and say, well, 90% are going to be there. Let's just over-deliver for our client.
For client, okay.
XYZ brand, and make sure. And so we'll fill it with, we'll offer it to the Surkus member base.
Right.
And then sometimes, though, it is, it decided that it's going to rain and that they're going to have a much larger drop-off than they anticipated. So we can use Surkus to identify that, because we can surface that. Hey, it's going to rain, but this is going to be still a cool event. They've made some changes to how it's organized. and our members will show up.
And so what do you do? Like, how does it work? You're 24 hours out from an event. What does the brand have to do? Do they have any heavy lifting, or do you guys handle it soup to nuts?
No, there's really not much for them to do, except, on our website, you can log in as a brand in the client portal and just input the information about your event. And from there, we handle everything.
And so what about if you're
spending 5 minutes on the portal
right.
saying, this is my event, this is where it is, this is who I want, and this is what I want them to do, whether it's just show up and, participate with the different events going on or what have you.
And how about brand attributes of the brand? How do you make sure that you're on brand, so to speak, for the...
Because when they tell us about the event, they just say exactly what the demographic profile is. I'm looking for 18 to 25-year-old women interested in athletics because we're a athletic apparel company. We're going to target those data points.
But you're not going to put brand logos and things on there, or will you?
It depends, if the brand is wanting us to share that, or if they're, doing kind of a secret pop-up, then we wouldn't. But in many cases, the brand is interested in promoting their own brand.
So what's the go-forward strategy? This sounds like you hit something really fantastic. Like, what's next in terms of this? Or are you growing geographically? Or are you growing in different ways?
Yeah, so we have our 5 main industries that we identify before we really go into a market. And that's, live events, meaning like sports and concerts, like live ticketed events. We have experiential events, these brand activations, product launches that we're talking about. We have entertainment, which is, background casting, film, TV. We then have digital, which is, user acquisition for new apps, testing products. And then finally, nightlife, which is, hospitality and restaurants, bars, nightclubs. So we look for those 5 industries to represent, a healthy market for us to next launch in. So as I mentioned, we have our 5 core markets, and then, we're looking for more markets to activate and better penetrate our current markets. So, we've identified a couple international cities that we're interested in moving forward in 2018. But really the rest of this year focused on our 5 core markets and, planning for next year, which is really the growth stage of our business. We've spent the last 2 years building out the technology and putting together the team that can really scale this globally. And so we have a busy quarter ahead and then an exciting next year.
Sounds great. It really sounds interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it expands. And it sounds like, when you look at this globally, are you seeing a world that is one in sense that the demographic of an 18 to 25-year-old is similar here than it is in other parts of the world now? Is it easier to culturally expand or not?
I think that you have to identify strong local partners in foreign markets because there are these nuances that, we don't necessarily know, operating in the U.S. Mm-hmm. And any company doesn't. So I'm constantly, meeting with different teams overseas and trying to identify the best partners. I think that's the biggest thing as we expand globally. But, it's definitely something where I see, because it is a location-based app, I see that if you are, a local to Los Angeles and you fly to London, you should be able to use Surkus to gain access and to kind of, have a unique experience when you're visiting. Yeah,
you really are adding an excitement to people's lives, really, when you do with this program. It sounds like I want to experience it myself even more, but it sounds like you really are doing what journalism has done for me. I go on trips everywhere. It's so exciting to be part of this community that I'm in. And it sounds like you're making it available to the everyman.
Yeah, and that's what we want. There's so much going on in every city. It's sometimes hard to identify, how you want to spend your limited time when you're traveling and your limited time in your own city because everyone's busy.
And what do you use the site yourself to go to things, or do you sick of going out?
I love engaging at Surkus events when I'm able to.
Yeah. Great. Well, this has been fantastic. I am so so prideful that the event pieces of the event industry that you're in, it's changing so much. And what you guys are doing is really one of the real innovations in our industry. And I really thank you for coming and appreciate what you're doing and growing your business, which I think takes a lot of courage. And you should be applauded for that as well. So thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank you so much for having me. And it's been, obviously it's great working with you guys.
Fantastic.
On so many different things.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you like what you're hearing, be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast app. We can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Player FM, Google Play, and Pocket Cast. Be sure to leave us a rating and review. It helps others discover the Gather Geeks podcast. We'd also love to hear from you. You can leave feedback on Twitter at GatherGeeks or leave us an email, gathergeeks@bizbash.com. We hope you'll join us again for the next episode of Gather Geeks. Until then, gather on. Are you tired of not filling your RSVPs? Surkus can deliver people to your event even at the last moment. Using their own advanced algorithms, they can match and connect your business with your ideal crowd. Visit Surkus.com to get started or request a demo. That's Surkus.com.